Didn't notice you there while I was reading. Well, I was reading. My book may have been upside down, but I was reading. Well, this is Cooper with FedRetirementPlanning.com, and let me tell you about some books that I think you as a federal employee could benefit from reading. Just so you're aware, before I go through all of the books, I actually have 21 total books that I've listed that I think every federal employee should read. I'm not going to talk about all those in this video because I don't want to bore you, but if you'd like to check them out, click the link in the bio below and you'll be taken to the website where you can read all the books that I think you should read, why I think you should read them, and where you can purchase them. Now, I doubt I'd be the first person to tell you that reading is good for you. In fact, reading is one of my favorite hobbies. It's one thing that I attribute a lot of my success in any area of my life to, is being able to read and gain knowledge from, all the different authors and people of history that have provided us with frameworks and their thoughts on different things within an easy to read text. So some of the books I'm going to talk about today deal specifically with federal employees, but most of them are really just general books on specific subjects that I think a federal employee could benefit from because they apply to your life. And these are books that I've given to clients. These are books that I suggest to clients. These are books that I've read and have personally affected me, and I think could benefit you. So in going about your career, understand that the more you read, the better off you can be. I think we live in a meritocracy, which means the more you learn, the more you earn. So let me tell you about some books that I think you should read. The first book that I think you could benefit from is really one of my favorite books on finance, and one that I give to just about, well, not all my clients, but a lot of my clients, ones that I think could benefit from it, and that is The Millionaire Next Door. The Millionaire Next Door is a book by Thomas Stanley and William Danko, and is a book that's been around for a while. And basically the premise is that oftentimes people think that you have to have a super high income in order to be a millionaire, in order to be wealthy. And I've tried to debunk this before in my videos for federal employees, but it's not so much about what you earn, it's more about what you save. It's more about how you spend your money and how, where you put your money, less about where you receive your money from. So this book, really is one of the most in-depth books on the subject. They did so much research and polling and all these different things to find out how to become a millionaire, and that a millionaire isn't the people that are driving the flashy cars or have the big mansions. Really, the millionaires are the people next door. It's the people who have lived modestly, that you would never expect to be millionaires, but have really done a good job of being good stewards of their money. So I suggest you check that one out. The next book I suggest is called The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. J.L. Collins is actually a blogger just like I am, and he talks a lot about retiring early or financial independence. And this is actually a book that was recommended to me by a reader named Chad, so I appreciate that, Chad. And this was actually the most recent book I read. And it details, on a really pretty basic view, how to retire early, how you can become financially independent, and how to make your money work for you. Okay? As a federal employee, I think you have a great opportunity to retire early. And this book kind of details some of the things that you can do to do so, and some of the things that J.L. Collins has actually done. And he talks about on his blog, but this book is really a good overview of how to do it. The third book I recommend has nothing to do with finance, but it's called The Power of Habit. Okay, The Power of Habit basically, helps you understand this cycle that we go through in order to develop habits. Okay, so it talks about, how we can develop habits that are good. So rather than developing these bad habits, it talks about how those habits are developed, how we can stop them, and how we can develop good habits. The reason I think this is good for federal employees is because getting in the process of creating good habits is going to be good for your entire life, whether that's your TSP investments and setting aside certain money to go into the TSP, setting aside a certain time to allocate, your spending, setting aside, money so that you can use it for an emergency in the future. All these things are created through habits, okay? And so this is a book that I think I'd suggest to you if you've kind of had a difficulty creating good habits and just kind of go through the cycle of just whatever life throws at you. The fourth book is one that I recommend to really everybody. It's my most given away book to friends and family, and that is How to Win Friends and Influence People. When I was a younger kid, I had a difficult time talking with people, and it was mainly because I always thought about myself. I was always focused on myself. I didn't care about others. And what you find through How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is an absolute classic by Dale Carnegie, you find that when you really care about other people and you show that caring through other people, they're going to want to talk with you and they're going to care for you, okay? Because the most important person in everybody's life is themselves. The most important thing in their life or word in their life is their name. So there's little tips and tricks and just ways that you can develop an appreciation for others that is beneficial in every area of your life, especially dealing with coworkers, trying to get promotions, all these different things that federal employees deal with, military members as well, okay? And so this is a book that I'd recommend for everybody, whether you're a federal employee or not. This is something that I believe every single person should read. The fifth book that I'd recommend is called Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's such a popular book that it even has an acronym that lots of people use, GTD. This is a book that I found a few years ago that allowed me to really maximize my time. So allowed me to focus on the things I should be focusing on and not focusing on things I shouldn't be focusing on. Things like the Pareto principle, where 80% of your output comes from 20% of the work you put in. Well, for anybody in any job, any employee, any employer, this is going to be a beneficial book for you because as a federal employee, you have a lot of things on your plate oftentimes. Okay, and so in your work, you're going to have to figure out how to get things done. And this book helps you utilize technology and all the things that we have today in order to get those things done, and it's one that I suggest. The sixth book that I recommend is actually written by a colleague of mine, and actually this was the one that I was pretending to read, is The One-Page Financial Plan. And this was created by Carl Richards. He's actually a columnist for the New York Times. He does a little cartoon illustration thing, I guess you'd say, that I actually use within the website sometimes. But Carl Richards, he's a great financial planner who really simplifies the profession. Too many financial planners and too many, I guess, people think that financial plans have to be this super overcomplicated thing. That your financial life, is so complex, it can't possibly be narrowed down into something small. And that's kind of what Carl Richards details, is detailing how to take all of these, things that we have, all these inputs. So all these, all of our bank accounts, all of our, goals, our wants and our dreams and everything, and put them into a financial plan, but being able to do it on one page. Okay, so dialing that down into one thing. And it's a powerful book that I recommend for people who don't want a financial planner and want to do it themselves, and it's one that I would check out. The last book that I'm going to recommend is called The $100 Startup. And you may be asking yourself, why would I want to read a book about, starting things up, about creating businesses, these different things? And the reason is because having a side hustle, having a source of side income is very important, not just for federal employees, but everybody. Okay, you have a secure job, most of you in the federal government, but it's also great to have some sort of source of side income that can be an outlet for creativity, that can be something you enjoy, can provide some extra income, can provide income if you actually lose your job in the in-between time, all sorts of things. And this book details how you can do it, pretty easily, in pretty easy terms, pretty easy to understand terms, and without a lot of money. Okay, it's a good basic starting point, and I know that from people that have read it have benefited from it. So if you're struggling with coming up with ideas to start a side hustle, to start something where you can get some side income, then this is something that I'd check out. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video on the books that you should read, I really suggest you look at all of them in the link in the bio below. But this is Cooper with fedretirementplanning.com. If you're not part of the community yet, I suggest you sign up. That's where I send out lots of these different emails, and you get, white papers, ebooks, all sorts of things that I've created, and you get it free of charge. All you have to do is subscribe. Okay, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, like, share the video, and we'll see you next time.
I can do this all day, I can do this all night.